Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful day, nice foggy weather, and I am out here doing my morning walk, y'all. I said it's a beautiful day, so let me take advantage of it by doing a morning walk today. Normally I do it in the afternoons with my daughter, but I just felt like coming out here, just, peaceful morning. And I just want to do a little nursing, FYI, just because I said I was going to start posting more nursing stuff. So I know a lot of people that, go to nursing school want to know if, it's possible to work. I know nowadays, you have like single moms, and I'm a single mom, and, or you have, people with, bills to pay, basically, and you just can't not quit. So the answer to the question is, it depends. It really depends on you. The drive, it depends on your drive. It depends on your grit. Because I will say that working can be a lot. I actually worked 2 jobs. I worked 2 jobs while I was in nursing school. I was a tech, and then I worked at a bread company. Yeah. So part-time. So basically a full-time job. Because, hey, your girl had bills to pay, right? So working, I'll be honest with you, I feel like I really just blinked in and blinked out of nursing school. Like it went by so fast, and it was so busy. But you definitely have to know how to prioritize. A lot of nights I had to study when everyone was asleep, because that's when my brain could focus, when it was quiet. And so you just have to prioritize. You have to plan, around work. I worked night shift at the bread company, and then I worked day shift as a tech on the floor. I was a tech in the ICU, which is where I wanted to be as a nurse. So you could do it. It's not hard, but you definitely have to prioritize. Now, if you're the type of person that is not able to, handle a lot of stress, and, you feel like it's just not going to be something that I can do, because I will say that nursing school is a lot. They are going to give you busy work, that's just you have to do clinicals. You have to think about planning that around your work schedule. What else? You have skills labs that you have to attend, not to mention all the meetings that you have to go to, and then you have class. Sometimes they will assign projects that you do as a group, so then you have to get with your group. It's just a lot of busy work sometimes in nursing school, but at the end of the day, some of it is helpful, some of it is, again, busy work, but you have to do it. So I would say, definitely don't be discouraged if you have to work while you are in the program, but understand that, everybody just cannot quit their job. I think that if you do proper planning, that it's very doable. It's very doable if you plan just right. I'm going to tell you what happened to me. So I was working full time at the bread company. I took the entrance exam, and I just wanted to take it to see what was on it, right? I wasn't trying to get in at that particular time. I just wanted to see what was on it. I was going to go back. I didn't care if I failed. I didn't care if I passed. It didn't matter. I just wanted to see what was on it, right? So that I could study and then really prep for taking it whenever I was ready to actually get into the program. Well, I made a pretty good score, right? So I was like, okay, well, at least now I know what's on there. So if I want to go back and take it again, I can. Um, so some weeks passed by, and it was nothing but the Holy Spirit, I ain't gonna lie. I was sitting at the gas station in the car. My mom's pumping gas, and I literally heard the Holy Spirit say, check your email, check your school email. I was like, check my school email right now? Like, it was so clear, y'all. It was so clear. People always say, something told me. No, that's God telling you. That's the Holy Spirit telling you to do stuff. Stop saying something. So I was like, okay. So I opened up my email, and lo and behold, it was like, you have been accepted. Now, mind you, I was just taking the interest test just to see what was on it. I wasn't trying to get in. I was not trying to get in. So I'm like, okay, this is my opportunity. This is God. This was God. He told me to check this email because he knew I done got accepted, right? So yeah, I literally had less than a week to tell my job that I need to go down to full time. Not only that, I need to go from day shift to night shift because I'm going back to school. This job was a great paying job. It's a good paying job. And I was actually, at that time thinking about, okay, I want to buy a house, all this kind of stuff. So I was like, I'll just do that, and then I plan to go to school the next year. Well, I'm sitting there, I'm excited. I'm like, oh my God, I done got accepted. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? They're telling me I gotta start in a week. What am I gonna do? So I'm talking to my mom. She gets in the car. I'm like, girl, guess what happened? I done got accepted into nursing school. She was like, what? So I'm like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? So I stopped for a second. I said, okay, Lord, okay, you allowed me to get into this program, and I know you're gonna make a way. So what do I do? So I reached out to my job. I told them everything, what was up. And because I felt like if I turn this down, I may not get this opportunity again. And see, sometimes the enemy will make you feel like you got to stay in one place and deal with what you're dealing with, when he knows good and well you can level up to a different level. So I said, you know what? I told him, I said, I don't want to quit. I went and I talked to the directors. I talked to the boss, like the head people. And I said, I don't want to quit. I said, but if y'all work with me, I'll work with y'all. I said, this is what I want to do. This is how I want my schedule to be. And if you could work with me, I would greatly appreciate it. So they were like, okay, all right. So did that. Started working, started class. And it was just like a fast-paced track from there. I went through the first semester. I like blinked through it. It would just happen so fast, y'all. It literally happened so fast. And I blinked through the first semester. And at the end of the first semester, they were offering the students the tech positions. Well, it's like a more like advanced type of tech position, because, hi, good morning, you actually have some skills under your belt. So, you know how to start RVs, you know what I mean? You can do certain things, catheters, all this kind of stuff, right? So you're a little bit more advanced in the tech, right? So this was during COVID, and unbeknownst to us, they didn't really use us. They didn't really use us as like advanced techs. It was more like just regular techs. So that kind of sucked, but it was understandable. Anyway, so they start offering this. So I'm like, okay, well, it's at the hospital that I do want to work at. So I can kind of make my own schedule. They're very understanding that, you know, we're in school, so they're not trying to put any pressure on us as far as like working. So I said, okay, all right, I'm gonna do it. So my mom was like, are you sure you want to do that? And I was like, yeah, this is my future. Like, I'm not trying to stay here at the bread. I'm thankful for the bread company. Hey, it helped me out in a lot of ways, but I'm moving forward, right? So anyway, I did that and it was great. They were very flexible. You know, my job ended up being that they just kind of took me off the schedule at one point because the supervisor that was doing my schedule ended up getting fired. And so they didn't know how she was working with me or whatever. So I was trying to tell them like how to schedule me. They weren't listening. So I ended up missing some weeks there, but it was fine because guess what? God backed me up with the other job. So when they figured out how I was working, they kind of added me back onto the schedule. You know, it was just a lot of maneuvering, but it worked out. So I'm saying that to say, don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt yourself, but don't overwhelm yourself either. You know, do what you feel is within your limitations, but you can do it. You can do it. I tell everybody, we wouldn't, if it wasn't possible to be a nurse, y'all, it's stuff moving in these woods, child. I tell people all the time, if it wasn't possible to be a nurse, we wouldn't have nurses, okay? Yes, they are going to make you jump through hoops. Yes, they are not going to make it easy, right? And I do think it's strategic, not just the nursing program per se, but I think it's more governmental, higher than that. So, you just do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. You know, you study at work or you just make the time. You know, sometimes, I mean, there's a lot of times I was so sleepy, y'all. I was tired. And I think that's where a lot of my grit comes from because I've learned how to just like push through. I've always been that person. I've always been that person. And so you could do it. You could do it. Make the time. If you got to get a calendar, get a journal, whatever you got to do. Plan your day, plan your assignments, plan your study time. But you can do it. Okay? All right. I'm about to finish up this little 1.25 mile. And I'll talk to y'all later. And at the end of this, when I get done, I'm going to go back home and show y'all one of my new little things I purchased. Because y'all know I be doing reviews. So I just want to say that anything that I do purchase or that I'm gifted is something that I want. Now, there was one thing I was gifted that I wasn't expecting. Okay, the seller just sent it to me. But other than that, it's like something that I want to try or that I'm interested in. I don't just randomly do things. Okay, so when I'm reviewing stuff, it's stuff that I really want or I feel like I can use or, you know, somebody that I know can use. So stay tuned. I'm gonna finish up this walk on this beautiful day. Yes. Oh, y'all, that was a good old walk. That was a good walk. I'm hot. That walk was everything, y'all. Y'all gotta get my sexy back on, okay? Whoo, let's get this air pumping, honey. Yeah, yes. It feels good to be back out there. I'm telling you, it feels good. So I gotta go home. I'm gonna shampoo my hair, shower, get changed, start my day. Okay. It's a great day. And like I said, don't let anybody ever tell you you can't do something. Don't let anybody ever tell you. You make that your motivation. When they say you can't do something, you make that your motivation and say, you know what, I'm gonna show them that I can. Guess what? We all gonna mess up in life. We gonna mess up more than one time. But you never let anybody tell you what you cannot do. Never. Because God says that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. Okay? And we can. You put your mind to it and you do it. All right?